Hey guys, it's been a minute since I've done a YouTube reading, and probably 2 months. I think I did a reading for the Gemini new moon, or just like Gemini season, and today we're moving into Leo season. I haven't really been practicing reading, more so just practicing meditation in my life, some yoga, some weight training, and yeah, really committing to my routines. So it's nice to do a reading, and I'm excited to see what unfolds for the collective. I was, on YouTube today and I saw that it's like a new moon, and I clicked on something, and it's a new moon in Leo, I believe, and Mercury retrograde. So some conflict could come up or arise in this reading. And Venus is in Gemini. So this reading could pertain to some communication that you are trying to have with another person in your life, could pertain to your social life, your love life. I'm thinking relationships because of the Venus in Gemini, and Gemini is very, social, but it's Leo season. So think about what you want, and how that might come up in the reading. So I have 3 different decks. This new one is my Rumi Oracle. I'm a huge fan of Rumi, and I have another deck by Alana Fairchild. And I've just really been enjoying this deck, guys. It's so beautiful, and poetic. So I think we'll end the readings with this one. So we'll sandwich it. Start with the Eternal Light deck, which we've used before. Tarot reading. Back of the deck right now is Queen of Pentacles. And then finish with our Rumi Oracle. Yeah. So I wanted to read this from the Eternal Light deck, but it says, be guided by the true and timeless you. Connect with your higher self by embracing the knowledge that you are much more than your physical self, far more than you can imagine. If you have a question, say it out loud. Otherwise, ask to receive the message that can most benefit you at this moment. Shuffle the cards as you hold the question in your heart and mind. When you feel ready, select a card and relate the message to your day. So we'll pick a card from this and keep that in mind. Just be guided by the true and timeless you. What can we all take today for the collective? Creativity. I flow through the invisible, formless fibers of your imagination. I see your hopes, colors, and dreams. The earth, sky, and stars are shining within. I see you drawing creative wisdom from the ocean of existence you hold within. Move beyond thought and planning and let your imagination run wild. All right, so you're going to have to get creative with this reading. I'm getting this sense of it's not going to click right away, but as I progress and explain more of what's going on in the bigger picture, then it'll sort of come together, and you'll have to sort of mold this to fit like what's going on in your life. Yeah, I'm also getting this sense of like, be more playful with like what you are hoping to manifest or create this month, since it is a new moon. It's like the start of something new. So I think Leo is a very creative sign, um, and has a lot of really beautiful things to say. Um, so during this time of year, don't overplan and overthink too much. Just kind of like let the experience of life be your canvas and allow yourself to be free, and do not limit yourself to, I don't think I can do this because I don't have XYZ. Get creative. You never know. And I think in those spaces of contemplation, when you can imagine your wildest dreams, that's very healthy. Um, so that kind of gives us a reference point of like, okay, I am aspiring for this like crazy dream, but it's, you know, not completely out of reach if you can think it. So that is what I'll say for that creativity card. All right, let's get into the tarot portion of the reading. Wow, I didn't even get to really shuffle or clear the deck, but let these three be here for now. Ace of Pentacles. Creative opportunity. Someone is giving you something. Someone has maybe already given you something since this is in the past. Present, judgment, feeling judged by the people around you, putting a lot of judgment on yourself, judging others, judging whatever this thing that somebody is offering you. Could be the universe offering you something. But if we are relating this to relationships, the universe could come in the form of people. So you're being offered something. You're in that state of like judging whether or not to let it in. Valid. King of Wands reversed, it's giving blocked creativity. So what I would say is you need to release judgment from this potential situation that is actually, it's one pentacle, but it actually could turn into more. I'm just remembering the Queen of Pentacles at the beginning of the reading. She's very abundant. I think that was maybe foreshadowing this. You are kind of overthinking, over planning, and it is causing you to block your creativity and your ability to, make things happen. So this, like, where it says like, I flow through the invisible formless fibers of your imaginations, I see your hopes, colors, and dreams. I think that's like your creative spirit. Could be a relative in your family that, could have been an artist. Maybe they're past. Maybe you've never met them, but it's some sort of creative spirit that's pushing you and wants you to take this opportunity. But you're still learning how to, release judgment and like accept the opportunities that are, being given to you right now or being offered by the universe. And okay, a couple more cards. Back of the deck, Four of Pentacles, some sense of security, which is super valid. We all want that. The Fool. This is taking a leap of faith. The Devil. Attachments. Taboo. Things that we might not want to get ourselves involved with because of what we've heard. And we have another reversal, Three of Wands, which is expansion. And this is also a card of creativity, reversed. So we are unable to move past what's going on right now. If we do think about this, let's say you do get past this section here, dealing with your attachments, dealing with, judgments, and not judging yourself so harshly. We move into territory after we have realized and internalized these King of Wands, Three of Wands reversed. It actually becomes in our favor. So the King of Wands is the ultimate creator. He's trying to build towns, he's trying to build something new. He's creative. The wand represents creativity. Also, I believe wands are fire signs, so this is an ultimate Leo card I'm getting. And I think you can even see like a little lion in the background. And Three of Wands, moving into uncharted territories. But you're moving past these three wands. You're ready to step into the unknown. You don't know. So let's talk about Judgment and the Devil. Judgment. Okay, so I needed to kind of pause for a second and meditate on some of the cards. But Judgment, I was saying you could be judging yourself, judging others, feeling judged by others, whatever. But you're having this sort of awakening about the reality of things. That we ultimately realized that the more we judge ourselves, the more we hold ourselves back from, the potential we have. This middle section is, I'm trying to talk about it in Buddhist philosophical terms because that's kind of what I'm getting. In meditation we are trying, with shamatha meditation, we're trying to be peace abiding, calm abiding, and no matter what comes up in our mind, we do not judge it. So when I see the devil sort of represents attachment, addiction, just the involvement of something that's bad. Granted, the tarot deck is not necessarily Christian. The devil is just a symbol of, things that we crave, things that we want. It also could be temptation, materialism. So when we're creating, we might really expect or demand a lot of material. And, while we're trying not to judge ourselves, we're letting our minds run free, creative, we might start to be like, well, I need this, and I need this, and I need this. But what I think this reading maybe wants to challenge you is, do you really need this, this, and this to create what you're trying to create? And this reading wants you to dig deeper into, stability, what you have. Death card underneath, it's giving let go. Do I really need all of these things to actually create what I'm trying to create? And the King of Wands is so creative and resourceful and a natural born leader because of his ability to work with what he has. It's not about, okay, I need to buy more. You're given one Ace of Pentacle. You're given $1. That's what you get right now. You get $1. What are you going to do with that? Oh, here. $1 was in my deck earlier. You get $1. What are you going to do with that $1? Are you going to spend it on some candy? It's not really going to build anything for you. What are you going to invest that money into? But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the devil. The devil is temptation. Are you overspending right now? Are you buying a bunch of materials and not actually utilizing it? So let's say you want to make an art project. What's holding you back from the materials you have? Why do you have to go out and buy XYZ? What could you create at home? And this is a good practice of the mind because it will allow us to let go of what we think we need, what we think is necessary to create and expand. And it's less about saving money, I would say, and more about feeling secure in yourself. I feel like I know, this here. My head knows where I'm at. I know where my heart is at, and I'm grounded. That is a good representation of security. So perhaps something, back to this, beginning section, the Fool is the 0 of the deck. It's the very beginning. You're moving into the unknown. You're letting yourself run wild. But in that journey, because it's the Fool's journey of the tarot, in that journey, you're coming across Judgment and the Devil. what could be holding you back? Are you over planning? Are you overthinking? Are you attached to the outcome? I think a lot of times we do get really attached to the outcomes, which is maybe why this is coming up reversed on this side. And you need to like embody this middle chapter right now before we move on to chapter 3. If this is chapter 1, 2, and 3, we're still working through and processing what just happened in chapter 2 before we can move into chapter 3. We know in chapter 3 there's going to be some challenges, but you know, by the end of that chapter, we're going to realize like it was really all about getting over that creative rut and expanding into uncharted territory. This could directly relate to an art project, but it also might just relate to the canvas, the gallery of your life, you know? For example, I have been wanting and longing to move out into my own place, but is that really, I continue to meditate on it. Also, in this economy, it's very expensive, but I've just been trying to get more creative. Like, do I need to spend money on finding a new place for myself? What would be the benefits? It's constantly thought experiments I'm having, um, and letting go of what I thought, would be an ideal living situation for me. And yeah, I'm continuing to work around that or work with that desire to eventually move out by just making little lifestyle changes, making it more comfortable to be where I'm at, while also making room for the unknown, making room for meditation, to contemplate what could happen next, to sit on these ideas of fear. When the devil comes up, we might be very fearful of what could happen. And with the King of Wands reverse, definitely like something's threatening your ability to take this next step. So I do like these cards together, Judgment and the Devil, because I think there is this practice of needing to see what's going on in your mind and ultimately let go of what you thought could happen. And that's how you can really make room for creativity and imagination, I think. So, okay, I'm feeling ready. The Courage of Your Love. Okay, I've never gotten that card before, so I'm kind of excited. Um, Here we sort of see two people, and the moon is illuminating onto them, and they also sort of see themselves on the moon, in that little shadow. It's a beautiful image, but I'll pull up the um, poem that goes with it. Okay, this is each card comes with a Rumi poem. Love is without reason. Rationality is like a cane. Judgment needs a cane because it is blind. When love arrives, thought dies in its shadow. Love is the sunrise, while thought is only a flashing light. Wow, I feel like that directly is relating to what's going on in this reading. Love is needed for creativity. That's what's sort of maybe missing in this reading and what's coming up for you. The King of Wands, this Leo energy. Leos might be real tapped into it. You are not providing yourself, everybody are not providing yourself enough love and courage to progress through um, this hardship, which I am seeing as a hardship. we need courageous love so we can bear this suffering that is in our hearts that we see every day. Um, there's a clear, it's clear that somebody could be yourself. Suffering is real. We're awakening to that. Um, Here's another part of the interpretation. The path of freeing the heart from the effects of a fearful mind is initiation into great power. So many lapses will happen before the heart grows strong enough to overpower old patterns and surrender without condition. When it is ready to surrender in such a way, the heart is free and allowed to simply be. Even the mind, then, finally freed from the shackles and joyfully submitting to love, declares, "Let love be whatever way it shall be. I can bear it. I shall take refuge in it. I shall not turn away from it. I am that love." Yeah, so your heart, the love you have, is a part of that force of creativity. Um, I think I was saying some stuff about meditating, thinking deeper, learning how to let things go. But I think throughout that whole process, you do need to provide yourself with some love. And I like that this is framed as the courage of your love because usually it's in those times of fear, anxiety, worry, you know, where we need to like have courage to love, um, especially in those times. But I think, honestly, in my experience, in those times, I've been able to create something beautiful. And I didn't really know what it could be. Um, and I did have to move past the thinking, planning, this needs to be this way, this needs to be that way, expectations, especially, and just making space for like healing, and learning how to just love all the aspects of myself, because if you can love all the aspects of yourself, you will realize that I am a creator. I do create every day. um, First thing we create every day is love for ourselves, we get up every day, every morning, and we brush our teeth, do all that self-care stuff before we start our day. So, how could you get creative with your routines? Implementing a little bit more love and creativity in your life. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I really do like this Courage of Your Love. Um, and I hope that we can maybe get together again this full moon to see how this sort of progressed, this reading. So talk to you later.